Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome to you to this webinar series that helps you in crisis time to unleash your very best, pack up some tips so you can bring up the best skills, best insights, and great energy in the way you lead. Thanks very much for joining from all over the world. And here we are in the last miles of our very tough year. And many of us are really, really tired, right? And yet, as leaders, we cannot drop the guard, right? We've got to bring out our very best, lead at our best. We've got to perform at our very best, and of course, we've got to get the very best from our people, which is why today's theme is about boosting the performance of your team members, right? In short, we've got to be the best bosses ever, right? And in a couple of minutes, I'll have the joy to interview one of the best bosses I know. But just before, I wanted to touch base with you and check out how was your best boss ever. And that's where I invite you to go to actually menti.com and just type there, click on the QR code or go to menti.com and type 48145556 to answer the question, what is it? What is the one thing that your best boss ever did for you that earned her or earned him the honor to be your best boss ever? So let's go there together and watch what appears on the word cloud that you're gonna play. One thing your best boss ever did for you. Here we go with the word cloud we are building together. Lead by example, emotional interaction, empowerment, humor, empathy, and listening, empathy, trust. Yeah, empathy is getting bigger. Trust as well. Yeah, coaching. Make me believe I can. Coach me and empower me. Technical skills. Reasonable challenge, transparency. Yeah, wow. Freedom, respect, autonomy, going well together, trustworthiness, care. Yeah, warm, compassion. Wonderful. And trust is getting bigger and bigger. We're gonna certainly come back to that a bit later, right? Do what he says, supportive, and more. I will send you the full results, in fact, tomorrow, 24 hours from now, right? So you get the full harvest of your great contribution. Thanks very much. So we have a big winner here, trust, and then fellow winners are lead by example, freedom and empowerment, and empathy. Thanks very much. Now, we have another set of questions for you, and that is coming up. And that's where you're invited to kind of scale your answers to those statements, right? With which you can either strongly disagree or strongly agree. So, how about my best boss ever gave me my biggest salary increase and bonus ever? Told me very often how great I am. Was super nice with me all the time. So if you strongly disagree, you scale, you mark on the left. And of course, if you strongly agree, you mark on the right. Let me do anything I wanted to. Help me improve my performance. Coach me so that I can become a better professional. Empowered me, and then supported me when I did mistakes. It's so cool to see the average of your answers here coming up. Let's give it one more moment. So for now, we have a winner, and that's empowered me and then supported me when I did mistakes. Coming up closer, helped me improve my performance. and coach me so I can become a better professional. Interesting. So the thing about being super nice with you, telling you how great you are very often, or giving you a very big salary increase and bonus, or letting you do anything you want to, are not big winners, right? As compared to empowering you, coaching you, helping you improve your performance, right? Hey, thanks very much for playing the game. And with this, we're going to go to talk with a real boss, right? Thanks very much, everyone. And I'm going to have the joy now to interview a very, very good boss, and very unique as well, actually. And he's good at many things. He's good at this, for example, as he's on the way. Perhaps he's actually doing this. Yes, he can do that, and he can do many. He can be Hulk as well, believe it or not. That's him. Yeah, back in 2014. Now, more recently, he could be Hellboy, all the same, 2018. And of course, I am delighted to have on the program today Mr. Gary Lim, the GM of Technip Engineering Thailand. And Gary actually started his career back in 1992 in Malaysia, and then was mobilized to start new operations in Thailand in 1997. That was another crisis time, yeah? Technip Engineering Thailand is currently employing more than 300 people, mostly engineers, as Technip FMC is a leader, a world leader in project management, engineering, and construction for the energy industry. Actually, they do a lot, from deepest subsea oil and gas developments to the largest and most complex offshore and onshore infrastructures. Technip FMC has a global workforce of 38,000 people and is constantly offering the best solutions and most innovative technologies to meet the world energy and challenge. And so it's a very great pleasure to have Mr. Gary Lim with us today. Yeah, and then here you come, Gary. A very warm welcome. Hey. And great background you have there, Gary.
Yeah, well, I've been to do some promotion about my company. That's what we do in the oil and gas industry.
Yeah. Hey, why not, right? Wow, and it says a lot. Thanks again, Gary. Oh, wow. And I have for you, actually, Gary, is super open, right? It's like, what comes to your mind when you think of boosting your team member performance?
All right. Well, thanks. First of all, Jean-Francois, thank you very much for the invitation. That was quite an introduction, except one thing that I don't really agree to categorize me as a best boss. I'm nowhere near the best boss. I'm on the contrary. I think a lot of people are complaining about me, how I manage the team. But anyways, you know, I've been participating in this series of webinars since you started. So thank you very much for the effort. Best of all, it's free, and I welcome anything that is free. Now, today, I hope that I can share my, I would say, 2 cents worth of experience on the performance management, which works for me, although it may not be the right cup of tea for everyone. So just take a pinch of salt of what I say. And also today I have a number of our team members is joining this webinar. So as they have done for the last couple of weeks, and so I bet some of them will come to see me and challenge me if I'm saying something that they don't agree or I'm not walking my walk. So when it comes to a performance, boosting the performance, so it's a lot of things that you can talk about: team members, the level of motivation, the resource, the tools availability, and with the current situation, the market situation, etc. Now, all these parameters, it change from time to time, from places to places, from organization to organization. And we have a very limited time today, so I think we should do some cherry picking, focus on the more selective areas of performance management subject. And I think the best is to start with the obvious, the elephant in the room. which is you. Specifically, I would say gets your hand dirty. Gets your hands dirty. And this is the first thing that when Jean-Francois was talking to me about boosting performance, I think as a leader, you need to get involved. And I see the comment just now about people talking about so-called the best boss, are the boss who really keen to know what their subordinates are doing, how to support them. And this is what I call gets your hands dirty. It does not mean I'm not sounding derogative to say, implying that you and your teams are doing some dirty jobs, but it means that you as a leader need to roll up your sleeve, get involved in the deeper level. Well, the good news is that you don't have to do a body painting to be a Hellboy or to be an Incredible Hulk to achieve that. But to better illustrate that, I would say I'll give you an example. Now, when we talk about performance management, we want to set the target so that the team can collectively aim and achieve those targets. Now, the conventional approach as a leader in old time, typical boss, I want it done no matter what. I don't care how you do it, just do it. Now, those are I would say the old time, a very typical leader. Taking a step further, the leader will say, well, okay, let's organize a team building event, motivate the team, energize the team. Who will do it? HR, go and organize the event. I'll give you the budget. That's the next step. Now, taking a step further is how we get the teams together. We organize the retreat, set up a workshop, get the team to review, to revisit the vision, mission of the company, brainstorm idea. Again, how to do it? Well, pay Jean-Francois a lot of money to facilitate the workshop. Maybe that's the way. After the workshop, you say, now we need to do a follow-up. We need to look at the update on the KPI reporting, what to do. Manager, please send in your report. So this is, I would say, most of the what leaders have been doing in the past. So how do we get involved more or gets our hands dirty? Now, pre-workshop, let's say using this, sticking to this scenario as an example, a pre-workshop, do your homework. Not only about to I would say, set up the target or all these things that you already know, but maybe identify the catalyst. Now, in our processing industry, catalyst is an element or compound that increase the rate of reaction. So in your team, identify who are the catalysts, who are the energy booster. And there must be some people in your team who are able to pick up what you want very quickly and a lot more committed. Focus and target on those few people because they will be your pillar, they will be your structure, your foundation to sell your idea. And you have to approach them, gauge their response based on the idea that you want to pitch in terms of the performance target, fine-tune, take in their ideas, and even you have to retune if necessary. It's just like I would say a kind of a soft opening of a restaurant, a pilot launch of or beta testing of a product. So at this stage, you already know that you have established a group of supporters to your idea when you start to engage the broader audience of the team member. Now, during the workshop, you may even allow or encourage your network that you have established to do the sales pitch on your behalf so that it does not always look that this is something the boss wants. This is what the team wants to do. All right. Then what you can do in addition is reaffirm or confirm the team's members' authority. Because, you can't talk about accountability of the team member if you don't give them the authority. And this is a very important thing and which leaders often overlook. Now, past the workshop, okay, apart from all the reports that you want to see on the KPI, typically, reporting is good, but mainly your team member would normally report what you want to see rather than what you don't want to see. So for me personally, I would do a follow-up, few level downs, communicate with the grassroots level employee, in a way verify if the message that we communicate with regards to the performance is properly cascade down to all levels of employee. Now you may ask me why you need to verify. Does that mean you don't trust your team? And just now I saw in the comment about best boss, trust is one of the biggest, I would say, a contribution in the boss. So does that mean I do not trust my team? And the answer is I do trust my team, but it does not mean I should have a blind faith on everything that I ask them to do, and it has to be done. It will be done. So in a nutshell, that's what comes to my mind. Back to you, Jean-Francois.
Yeah, thank you very much, Gary. And that's so worlds of experience and very practical as well, right? Things we can very well do. Thanks so much, Gary, for packing so much in so little time. I have another question, which is what typical challenges managers will face in your experience, you know, in boosting others' performance?
Yeah, I think challenge is all around everything that you do, because you're trying to bring the best and out of people, and you're trying to bring more and more out of them. One thing to note is that we are talking about boosting the performance of the team and not the people or individual, and this is a big difference. If I may, for example, let's go back to the session number 2 where Kun Apiwood was talking about football, a team sport. And I think it's very similar analogy to managing team performance, because when you have a single or double team, you're looking at the performance of individual. You have the better focus, and everything is on that particular person. If he's performing well, that's it. If he's not performing well, you know what to do. But it's different for a team, because the team, there's a lot of other variable. If you take a team of football or basketball or rugby or 15 players on the field, the variables of communication, coordination at the field, different level of expectation, a weakening in certain areas of the department, whether it's attack or defense. So not everyone will be at his best or her best level at the same time due to this factor. So team performance sometimes becomes the aggregate or average of a combination of individual performance, because not everyone will be always at his or her peak. So it means also that sometimes for individual who is not performing, it's easy for that individual to hide or mask the shortfall within the team which is performing. So your challenge, biggest challenge as a leader, is to recognize the performer, but at the same time to also not overlook the non-performer. The next challenge is about sustainability, the sustainability of the performance level, because you have to, I would say, acknowledge and differentiate the performance that come as a peak or as a momentary spike through motivation. And this kind of motivation will not give you a sustainable performance level. You can give a lot of incentive with a lot of money, but how long can you, I would say, sustain that? If the performance is because of the job security, because of the market situation, what happened when the market situation improves? So how do you sustain that level of performance? Is it because of the pride, because of competition? So I would say every organization, you have different type of, I would say, factor affecting the performance, but you have to find something which is sustainable. You have to dig deeper within your organization, looking at the belief, value of the organization, and build a culture of performance based on those values. Only then the performance can be sustainable. Now, another challenge is a failure to differentiate, which I mentioned just now, the difference between the accountability and the responsibility. Accountable person is an individual who is, I would say, ultimately answerable for the activity or decision, which means it includes the power and the authority that the person have. A responsible person is an individual who just carry out and complete the task. And most of the time, the challenge for the leader is the failure, I would say, to recognize and to differentiate accountability and responsibility. The other things is mostly, professional, I would say, let's say back to professional sport, let's say football. I've been watching a lot of football in the last couple of years. At the end of a successful season, even if they win a championship, the management will be busy looking into the market for new players to keep on improving, because it's a continuous improvement. So the challenge is never ending. And in real life, for us, it's even more challenging because we don't have off season or winter break. We just keep on have to perform. So at some point, you have to burn out as a leader. And I think it's okay for the leader to feel tired, to admit that sometimes you need a break. You will feel demotivated at some time because some distractions, some bad result, that of some unexpected event. But remember that I mentioned about build your network, find the energy booster, the catalyst within your team, because that will be the time that you have to rely on your team to help you to steer the wheel and to continue I would say, ensure the continuity of the performance. Last but not least, sometimes you have to look at performance as having fun, because it's really very rewarding to see everything that you do and you have the reciprocating result from the team member, and it's a satisfaction that you get, and you must not forget to have fun. The reason why I do some body painting, do a different thing with my team is because it is fun. Okay.
Yeah.
Back to you, Jean-Francois. Yeah.
Thanks very much, Gary. And I attest to that. It's fun to be part of your team, Gary. And thanks of your answers about the challenges in motivating, in boosting the performance of people beyond motivating them. And Gary, we'll be back with you in a few minutes for a Q&A. In the meantime, you've provided me with a perfect segue to the sharing I wish to offer today. You'll see why in a minute. Hang on. Thanks again, Gary. We'll be back with you in just a few minutes. So first,
Okay, well,
yeah, the first idea Gary was talking about was energy, right? And of course it's important, and it's necessary, and it's not enough. We've started this whole series of webinars with boosting your stamina and sharpness in crisis time, as you may remember. And we also looked at tips to remotivate your team. If you've missed those webinars, when you get the slide deck tomorrow or later on in this program today, you can just watch them again, right? But then today we're not going to repeat any of that, right? We're going to go deeper, like actually Gary mentioned, right? And Gary said, dig deeper, find some catalysts of performance, in fact, right? And something that's sustainable. And that's the first topic I want to dive in with you today. In fact, and for that, we have a special other guest on the program, none other than Will Smith, in fact. And what I'd love, as I show you the video of this extraordinarily energetic actor, is you ask yourself, what is his catalyst of energy, right? So this is Will Smith answering to a journalist who told him just before, Will Smith, you are such an icon. Now, this is what he says, in fact. So here we go.
I don't want to be an icon. I want to be an idea. You know, I want to represent an idea. I want to represent possibilities. I want to represent magic, right? That you're in a universe and 2 + 2 = 4. 2 + 2 only equals 4 if you accept that 2 + 2 = 4. 2 + 2 is going to be what I want it to be. You know, and there's a redemptive power that making a choice has, you know, rather than feeling like you're at effect to all the things that are happening. Make a choice. Like, you just decide what it's going to be, who you're going to be, how you're going to do it. Just decide. And then from that point, the universe is going to get out your way. It's like, it's water. It wants to move and go around stuff.
Yeah, amazing.
I don't want to be an icon.
What would you say is Will Smith's catalyst? Yeah, he says, you've got to make a choice, decide who you want to be and how you're going to be. Yeah. And of course, for him, his catalyst is his purpose, right? His purpose is to embody possibilities. And that, of course, leads me to say, one of the first things we've got to do with our team members, right, is to help them identify their professional purpose, in fact, right? And by purpose, I mean the difference they want to make with their life and in their career to the world around them, right? So, because when we've done that, and we'll see later on, we can nurture very sustainable energy and help them boost their performance, right? So how do we do that practically? You could well start in this way, right? You sit down with them and ask them, hey, who do you want to be professionally 5 years from now, right? And that's asking them to spell out a vision for them down the road, yeah? And then they're going to tell you something, perhaps a tip of the iceberg, right? You've got to help them dig deeper and asking, in essence, why, right? Until you meet a quality, a depth of answer that really qualifies as a purpose, a difference that this colleague of yours, this team member, wants to drive for, right? A big difference they want to make, that they will be proud of, right? And then you can start to connect the current job they have with their purpose. And perhaps you can also question them about their next career steps, and then again connect those steps with their purpose. Of course, you've got to do a sanity check or to make sure they're not dreaming something that's totally infeasible, right? But like, so once we've done that deep conversation that can take quite a bit of time, but it's so worth it, then we need to land on the ground and identify the mindset, the attributes, and the skills that this colleague of yours is going to need to reach their purpose. And the conversation could be just like, hey, thanks for sharing your purpose. I really feel for it, right? For example, your colleague told you, you know, what I really aspire to is that with the family business I'm going to inherit in a few years from now, I want to make a great sustainable difference to the experience of our clients. Great. So let's talk about the mindset and the attitude, perhaps, that you're going to have to adopt when you do that, take over the business, right? And let's talk about the strengths that you already have that will make you great at achieving that purpose, right? And then let's talk about the developmental needs you may have, right, to reach that purpose. And also let's talk about that kind of discipline of champions and courage, perhaps, that you may need, right, down the road, right? So a very deep exploration about what can set them up for success, and then look at what they can draw from their current work environment, right? And there is plenty of opportunities for them to prepare themselves to take over a family business in any company, in fact, right? And there are also many resources outside of the work environment that they can draw from, right? And so here you see the connection with what they do today, what they're going to do in the next few years in the company, is that they can leverage a lot of growth opportunities in the company doing their job to prepare themselves to embrace their longer term purpose. Yeah, you can also do a kind of a simple diagnostics of the skills they will need, assess their current level, and then identify the missing ones that are really critical to their future. And then perhaps prioritize 2 or 3 that they can really develop this year that also make good business sense for their current job, of course, because it's got to be a win-win, win for them and win for the company. Yeah. And then, of course, and I will be short on that, right? Just adjust their development plan with that 70-20-10 rule, right? Where 10 are about concepts, basically, right? 20 are about what you can gain from relationships, and 70 are really related to the job at hand, in fact, right? And so with all of this, you've got a team member that's energized with a purpose, and that's a catalyst of their energy, right? And it's sustainable because it's pitched in the longer term, right? And they've got a kind of a matching development plan. Is that enough? Maybe not. Maybe not. There's something more you have to do, right? And that's about self-esteem, right? And you heard me say that couple of times in the program already, right? If there is only one thing you can do as a manager, then choose to boost the self-esteem of your people, because then they will adopt positive behaviors, right? And let go of toxic behaviors, right? So how does self-esteem look like? Well, all of these attributes, right? Taking on responsibility and accountability, as Gary said, rather optimistic, establishing healthy relationship with others, caring for others, right? The contrary would be that list that you can look at later on, right? And more characteristics of self-esteem are to be seen in the typical winner's attributes, such as having a program instead of an excuse, having an answer for problems rather than being seeing a problem in answer, and on and on. I will let you read the slide deck at your convenience, of course, right? And with this, I want to say that there are many ways to boost self-esteem. I want to show you one way from Hollywood. Let me know if you think it's good or not.
Now look in the mirror and tell me what you see.
I see Junior.
You see Junior. Well, you want to know what I see? I see pride. I see power. I see a badass mother who don't take no crap of nobody.
You really see all that?
Yeah, man. But it's not about what I see. It's about what you see. Now look in this mirror and tell me again what you see.
Well, I see
Pride.
pride. Right.
Power.
Power. And I see
A badass mother who
who
don't
won't take no crap off of nobody.
Again.
I see pride.
Can't hear you.
I see power. I see a badass mother who won't take no crap off of nobody.
Once again.
I see pride.
Junior.
I see power. I see a badass mother who won't take no crap off of nobody.
That's right.
Right. Junior Bevel.
Where are you going?
Haha. So how good is that? Well, it's fun, right? The thing is, it doesn't really work, right? We've got to do something much deeper, right? We've talked about a few ways to bolster self-esteem in previous episodes of this series, right? One I want to I've kept for today actually is to actually invite quite firmly your people to move out of the victim loop, right? That's a loop where they can have either victim behaviors or aggressive behaviors, or even worse, actually rescuing, right? Behaviors of people who behave negatively, because that just maintains the status quo. So when you see that, you want to hold them to a higher standard of being, in fact, right? And just like Gary said so very well about accountability, tell them, okay, put your accountable hat on here, right? You are so much better than this, and tell me now how you're going to be and what you're going to do in this situation when you are fully accountable to move it forward in a good direction, right? So that is really nurturing self-esteem, because they're going to make that effort, stretch themselves, adopt another way of being, and afterwards think, wow, yeah, in that way of being, I think I can be proud of, yeah? Now, that is still not enough, right? So we've got a catalyst or purpose, right? We've got a development plan, a plan for growth. We've got healthy self-esteem. I'm saying it's not enough. And I want to make my case by showing you yet another video of a marathon runner. So the marathon runner's name, a mile runner, Roger Bannister, back in 1954. You're going to watch, he's going to do something absolutely amazing. Please watch. It's the guy in this picture who is taking out his jumper here. He's preparing himself to run a mile.
As the gun fired, Chris Brasher went into the lead and I slipped in effortlessly behind him, feeling tremendously full of running. My legs seemed to meet no resistance at all. almost as if impelled by an unknown force. In 59 seconds. Chataway led round the next bend, and then I pounced past him at the beginning of the back straight, 300 yards from the finish. I had a moment of mixed joy and anguish when my mind took over. It raced well ahead of my body and drew me compellingly forward. I felt that the moment of a lifetime had come. Those last few seconds seemed never-ending. The faint line of the finishing tape stood ahead as a haven of peace after the struggle. I leapt at the tape, like a man taking his last spring to save himself from the chasm that threatens to engulf him. My effort was over, and I collapsed almost unconscious with an arm on either side of me. It was only then that the real pain overtook me. I knew I had done it before I even heard the time.
Now, what Roger Bannister just did back in 1954 at that moment is run the mile in less than 4 minutes. Now we are so many decades afterwards, right? And the record I checked yesterday is 3 minutes 43. Every second is a huge difference, right? So, but anyway, at that time, you know, everybody, and especially the doctors, were saying nobody can ever run a mile in less than 4 minutes. It's a given that they will die if they get close. Except Roger Bannister didn't believe that. He gave it its all. He thought, I can do that. He just did, right? So where I'm going with this is the power of beliefs, right? And the power equally of limiting beliefs, right? Now, what are common limiting beliefs? Many of them, right? For example, excuses, like say, I have put on too much weight, it's too late to try to lose some, yeah? Or negative thinking, it's too risky to trust others. I've been disappointed enough time. That's an example, right? Another limiting belief would be like making justifications, right? Hey, the economy is down. It's not the time to look for a career change, right? Or perfectionism. That's a very nasty one. Well, whatever I do, it's never good enough. Or no need to try if I can't do it to perfection. Very crippling, yeah? Past failures as well can nurture thoughts or beliefs such as I've tried that already, it did not work out, right? Beliefs inherited from family or education can be also super crippling, right? And for those of you who are parents, right, I always invite you to make sure you're not perceived or acting as interrogator, right? Questioning your kids, right? Because then you can really intimidate them and they may become distant or aloof in the future, or also if you intimidate them, act as victim, right? Or feel deep down, I'm not good enough. I'm a disappointment to my parents. I'm not worthy of their love. I'm not worthy of belonging. And believe this or not, in coaching, as I work with high-level executives, such beliefs often come up in our explorations, in fact, right? So very good to make sure as parents, we make sure our kids grow self-esteem, yeah? And general assumptions such as people will never support such a change to their routine, right, are also crippling. So in the next couple of slides, I'm giving you some tips to identify your limiting beliefs, and I'll let you read them, read how to at your convenience, and also examples of how you can reframe the limiting beliefs you may have in yourself, or you may find in conversation with your team members, reframe them into performance enabling ones, right? So say a limiting belief is, I must secure everyone's good before my own. That's way too big. That's the right thing to do, right? Now that's a very limiting belief, right? Perhaps it can be reframed in, to really help others, to secure everyone's good, I must first feel good. Yeah. Another one is limiting belief. I must avoid mistakes. One way to reframe that is, I must maximize my learning. You've got a choice, yeah? I must appear strong at all times. Could be turned into, I must appear purposeful at all times. Or I can't speak in public. I'm freaking out. Into, well, what I can do is give people a good time to start with, yeah? And on, right? And so my invitation to you, of course, is to do the exercise, and then when you have a chance, perhaps do the same with your team members to boost their performance, right? Now, there's one more important thing to do to boost their performance to the max, besides what we said about building a sense of purpose, right? And then having a development plan that help them get there, right? And boosting their self-esteem in a good way, and reframing their limiting beliefs. And it's accelerating their learning, in fact. And that's where I'd love that we start a little poll to check in with you. What are the most effective ways to learn a new behavior in your opinion? So a new behavior in order to improve performance. And that's where I invite you to take a look at the poll I'm putting up on the page, right? And just tick those statements that you think are effective ways, really effective ways to learn a new behavior in order to improve performance, right? You've got the choice between try and teach the new behaviors to others, try the new behavior and get feedback from an expert. So try the new behavior, fail, adjust, and try again. And you can choose several ones, right? Brainstorming about how to do the new behavior correctly, watch a video about the new behavior, read about the new behavior, hear a description of the new behavior. We agree that it's kind of all helpful, right? And the point is to select perhaps those of these things which you think are the most effective, in fact. Let's see what's coming up. Thanks for playing the game, everyone. We're going to give it a few more seconds and then show up at the results. And so far in the race, trying the new behavior, failing, adjusting, and trying again is taking 78% of your votes, right? And coming at second place is trying the new behavior and getting feedback from an expert, right? And then the third position will be trying and teach new behaviors to others. And there are more and more answers coming. And at this point, we're going to share the results with you. So you can have a look. And here we go, sharing the results with you. You can see it's in line with what I was just saying, right? So big vote in favor of trying the new behaviors, failing, adjusting, trying again, right? So learning by doing, not being afraid of mistake, right? Trying the new behaviors and getting feedback, and trying and teaching the new behaviors to others. And actually, now I will share with you something from research, in fact, that has kind of carefully calibrated the impact of these different ways to learn in terms of their effectiveness. So the least effective, which does not mean it's not helpful, is hearing a description of a new behavior. The retention rate will be 5%. Next one is reading about a new behavior. The retention rate will be 10%. Next one up is watching a video about the new behavior, 20%. 50%, so big increase, is brainstorming on how to do the new behavior correctly. But then even better, much better, trying the new behavior, failing and adjusting, and trying again, which is what you voted for. And then trying the new behavior and getting feedback from an expert, actually even better, right? Because you fail and adjust and try again, plus you've got the benefits of an expert advice. Yeah? And the top of the top, right, is trying and teaching the behavior to others, because that's when you make sure you totally master it, right? And that leads me to bringing coaching in the equation, which we talked about in a previous webinar, right? Coaching zone will actually mobilize those top 4 things you can do to accelerate the performance of the performance development of your team members. And with this, my invitation is, if you want to rewatch again what I offered about developing your coaching skills, you can just, when you get the slide deck in a few minutes now, watch the program again and also read the slide deck. And so we've moved from establishing a sense of purpose, a developing plan that makes it possible, a development plan that makes it possible for your team member to reach it. Then, just like Will Smith said, we embody their purpose, right? And we connect that with what they've got to do in the company, right? Boosting their self-esteem healthily, and then all the way to discarding their limiting beliefs, replacing them with empowering one, and accelerating their learning on the job. Yeah. With this, we coming back to Gary actually for our question and answer session. So Gary, thanks for staying put. You can unmute yourself and pick up some questions. Yep. Q&A. Yeah.
Thank you, Jean-Francois. Yes. Thank you. Oh, Gary, so we have a question for you. In your previous answer, you hinted that not everyone will perform as expected. What are your thoughts about managing underperformers?
All right. I think we should focus on I would say the scope to the underperformer who's consistently not able to perform. Because you have underachiever or those people who are not performing in the occasional level. You always have people to help, coaching, guidance them in terms of how to bring up their performance. But I think this is a very, very important aspect of managing performance, but often overlooked by a lot of leaders, or I would say rather reluctant to act on the performer or the individuals who are constantly not performing. And the reason I would say most of the time is it's not easy and it's not nice to be the bad guy to take a decision. And this is what leaders are supposed to do. We have to take decision and we have to take action, despite we may be portrayed as a bad guy. Now, here we are not talking about the ways of what to do, but the willingness and the courage as a leader to act on the non-performer. And this is made worse by the culture of the mindset of a team, that this is the team effort and therefore we are not here to find a scapegoat, or we do not want to point finger. And you are right. I fully agree that the team's job is to perform and not to point finger or find excuse. But your job as their leader is to do the necessary housekeeping, I would say, simply putting it the other way around, the housekeeping job to establish the proper condition for your team to perform. So these non-performers who are constantly not able to perform, sometimes I call them deadwood. And what do you do with the deadwood in your garden? You get rid of the deadwood. It's as simple as that. Because first and foremost, we are not working in the charity organization. We are paid to do what we do. So, we are not voluntarily doing a voluntary work. So we have been hired because our employer believes that we bring value to the company. So we cannot be sentimental, and especially you as a leader, you cannot be too kind. Remember when I used the word catalyst in the chemical processing industry, I mentioned about what is catalyst. You have two other elements. One is the inert. An inert is an agent that, or a substance or element that is there in the reaction, but it's not participating. It's completely, I would say, free from any chemical reaction. Then on the other hand, you have what we call inhibitor. Inhibitor is completely opposite from catalyst. Now, if catalyst help to increase and accelerate the reaction, inhibitor deters or impede or hinder or prevent your chemical reactions from happening. It interferes, it obstructs. So in our, I would say, environment, the inhibitor are the non-performer and they will drag the performance down. all your effort in bringing up the performance of the team, if you only focus on boosting the performance and not able to take decisive action on the underachiever, it will go in vain, and you'll waste a lot of time and your money and resource just to plug the hole. So the last point I would say is that don't wait to take action, not because if you wait that it's too late, because you would not know that it is too late. So back to you, Teddy and Jean-Francois.
Thank you very much. That was very, very insightful, Gary. The next question we have is for Jean-Francois. Now, Jean-Francois, the risk of grooming high performers is that they leave the company. What's your take on this?
Yeah, that's a real risk. Yeah, and there is a bigger one, right? The bigger risk is that if you do not groom high performers, then the company will die. Yeah, makes me think of a CEO who famously said, when he was asked by a financial analyst, like, why is there so much cost in your P&L for people development? And the CEO said, well, because those costs save the much, much bigger costs of not developing people. Yeah, we don't really have a choice. Yeah, and by the way, all the tips I'm offering in this webinar series are free of charge, right? They just cost your precious time. That's a lot, but at least they do not cost extra money to the company. And one important thing, right, is like the experience has shown for a long time that when, as a leader and as a company, you take care of grooming the performance of your people, and particularly high potential employees, they stay far longer with the company because there is so much more in it for them, right? So, yeah, so there is a risk that they leave, and there are far bigger risks, in fact, yeah. Thanks very much, and I'm afraid we run out of time for more questions today. I wish to thank Gary wholeheartedly for being illuminating as always, Gary. That was just fantastic, and I know your time is so precious, so big gratitude for making some time with us today, Gary. And with this,
you're most welcome. It's time for me to have my beer, so I'm not having a precious time now.
Okay, that's another precious time. Enjoy to you, Gary, and thanks very, very, very much again.
Welcome.
To do a quick recap, and then I'll play Lady Gaga for you. Wait, just hang on just a couple of minutes for that, right? Because Lady Gaga is a super wise lady. Yeah, so quick recap of, about boosting your team members' performance, right? First, of course, their energy has to be high, and I'm inviting you to watch the 2 webinars that really informed what you can do about this, right? And then help your team members identify their purpose and connect it with their job and their career path, right? So then their work in the company is so much more meaningful to their future that they can invest even more of their potential into it, right? Identify with them the type of mindset and behaviors and skills that will be necessary for them to reach their purpose. And then, of course, make sure that they see that part of what they do and how they are at the company help them build such mindset, behaviors, and skills. And then and do a good, solid development plan, 70-20-10 type, right? Where the skills they have to develop is prioritized, yes? And then make sure you move out any team members that stays in the victim loop out of that very toxic area, and then nudge them towards taking accountability for their performance. Identify with them their limiting beliefs, right, and reframe them into performance enabling beliefs, and eventually leverage your coaching skills until your team members adopt high performance mindset, behaviors, and skills. And you can watch a previous webinar on how you can do how you can take your coaching skills to the next level to do precisely that type of great work, right? Now with this, the breaking news, as I like to say, about my business activity today is, well, for me, it's super exciting. It's a 6-month reinvention program for leaders, and that's from January to June next year, and it's going to be with leaders from all around the world. And the cause is that we are in this crisis period at a time where we need to reinvent how we are and how we lead. And we need to take time to do that and unleash what I call our artistic mind, which is not just our creativity, but much more. In fact, so that the way forward we invent for our business and for our way of leading is informed by a lot more than excellent rationals and the cultural norms that we've been groomed with, right? So I invite you at your convenience to have a look at the brochure that we've prepared for this program that I'm doing in partnership with a very good colleague of mine in Latin America. So I hope you enjoy the reading. And I also invite you to 2 webinars that will I think inspire you to shift from mastery to artistry in what you do, in fact, as a leader. And there again, for a part, unleashing the potential of your creative mind, in fact, to inform how you lead. Yeah, you can just, of course, scan the QR codes here, and you have direct access to the registration page to those 3 webinars. Now, in 2 weeks' time, we'll be a bit on the same topic and more, as we'll tackle the theme, reinvent your leadership with your artistic mind. There again, my invitation is scan the QR code to get your seat, right? That'll be Thursday, October 29th, and it'll be very, very special. We'll actually watch in action a number of world-famous artists, some alive and some not alive anymore, but still alive in everybody's mind, right? And then in 4 weeks' time, will be the finale of our webinar series. And that'll be with 12 boosters of great leadership and 12 busters as well. Again, I hope you can join. It will be very insight-rich and a wonderful, I hope, way to wrap up our journey in leadership and in crisis time all together. Yeah. And with this, I'm going to offer 4 gifts for you, e-gifts, right? The first one is an excellent article from McKinsey, very recent. They call it the boss factor, making the world a better place through workplace relationship. One more is learning to let go of perfection and micromanagement. I wrote the thing. And as you could see earlier on, I have a very strong bias again, perfectionism and micromanagement. Here I'm hoping to convey practical ideas about how to let go of them. Another article I wrote is about the attitude and mindset which will best help you to succeed, and that's inspired in part by Lady Gaga, who will be featured just a few minutes from now. And then the last article I prepared for you is about limiting beliefs, and it's titled, "Are You Hostage of Your Limiting Beliefs?" This is my moment to thank you very, very much for taking your precious time for your continuous growth as a leader, and to wishing that you gain it off from this series of webinars. Thanks for your loyalty to the program, to all of you from around the world who are joining. Renewed thanks to Gary for being such an awesome guest and so very inspiring, as I know you always are, Gary. A great pleasure and an honor. And with this comes the rewards time, right? The first reward, of course, is with Jonathan, who's prepared a new type of exercise for you today. And just after that, a compelling story about Lady Gaga and very wise wisdoms she offered about boosting our performance. Very deep drivers for it. If you have still a few minutes, you can watch this live, and otherwise, of course, tomorrow you'll get the video of the whole program. Many, many thanks. Continue to lead at your best, and I wish you all the very best.
Hello everyone, welcome to the 8th episode of our series, How to Reduce the Negative Impact of Office Syndrome. Today, I'm going to show you a new exercise. Today, I'm going to need some material. I'm using here what we call a resistance band, but if you don't have one, you can use a towel, for example. very simple. I gotta stand straight, maintaining my back straight. I unlock my knees to be stable. And I will just do some rotations this way with my resistance band, like that. I do it slowly, and I can go for 5 to 10 reps. I don't forget to breathe, and make sure that you maintain your head straight when you do this movement. Avoid to move your head forward like that, okay? So keep your jaw locked, okay? Chin locked as well, okay? Keep some pressure right here, and do the movement at the same time, this way. I hope you enjoyed this little video. See you in the next one for a new exercise.
Every once in a while, an artist comes along and breaks through, instantly changing the way we think and feel, forcing us to take notice. Lady Gaga is one of those people. Whether she's emerging from an egg at the Grammys, hanging bloody from a rope at the VMAs, or walking the red carpet wearing a dress made out of raw meat, she's shocked, stunned, and surprised us time after time. You can't deny there's something about that Lady Gaga. To her millions of fans, known as Little Monsters, it's not just about the outrageous costumes and infectious pop hits. To them, she is so much more. One of the greatest performers of all time, transcending the music into a life-affirming message.
The VMA for Best Pop Video goes to Lady Gaga! Lady Gaga! Lady Gaga! Lady Gaga!
In just 4 years, Lady Gaga has become a force. She won 5 Grammy Awards, sold 23 million albums, and 64 million singles worldwide. Forbes and Time magazine called her one of the most powerful and influential women in the world. With an astounding 20 million people, she has more Twitter followers than anyone else alive, arguably making Lady Gaga the most famous pop star on the planet. And she's just 25 years old. I first met Lady Gaga 2 years ago on The Oprah Show. I was not only blown away by her extraordinary talent, but also by her strong sense of self. What is the message that you most want people to receive?
I want them to free themselves, and I want them to be proud of who they are, and I want them to celebrate all the things they don't like about themselves the way that I did. It took a lot of bravery to get to where we are today. A lot of people see glasses and shoulder pads and crazy outfits, and over the years it was very difficult to do interviews because that's all people would talk about. But to tell you the truth, I had been working so hard, doing 3 shows a night, all day long, going to radio stations.
England asks, when exactly was the moment in your career when you realized you were going to be an international superstar?
I still don't feel like one.
How's that possible?
I just know. I know that sounds very silly, but I guess even though my first album was called The Fame, that was never the ultimate goal of any of this. It was always that I just really am genuinely a musician to my core. And a lot of people don't know that about me, but I write every lyric, every melody. I'm in there with the producers, whipping them to make the new future of music. And that is why I'm here. I'm not here to be a superstar, but I was never the winner. I was always the loser. And that still stays with me. And do I people to look into the darkness and look into places that you would not normally look to find uniqueness and specialness, because that's where the diamonds are hiding. Yes, I actually vocally rehearse every single day. I do a 30-minute warm-up every single day. It's been the same vocal warm-up that I've been doing since I was 11 years old. Is there anything that I regret from my past? Well, I'll begin with the lyric, and I will say, don't hide yourself in regret is don't perpetuate negativity in your life. Don't obsess about the things that you didn't do or the things that you may have not done your best. Obsess about the future. Obsess about today. Think endlessly about how you can pull the inner queen or king out of yourself and let that superstar shine. I don't believe that fame is something that is obtainable. I believe that it's inside of you. So I guess what I would say is don't obsess over what you've done wrong. Always look into yourself for the answer and be the best you that you can be in the future. The greatest piece of advice I've ever received. It is, if you don't have any shadows, you're not standing in the light. To be quite honest, honesty and the truth is always what will set you free. I can't tell you how many times I get phone calls from TV stations, and Troy will call me and he'll say, they want you to edit out this section of the video, and I say, well, just tell them I'm not doing it, and if they don't want to play it, they don't have to. If the artist is constantly molding ourselves and changing and abridging what we do for the machine, then the artist becomes part of the machine. I don't want to be part of the machine. I want the machine to be part of me. So I see faith in my fans, and that's what keeps me strong as them. As I really, when I go out there, I don't go out after the show and get plastered and do a ton of drugs, and when I go on stage the next day, I can barely sing. I'm very, very disciplined and hardworking, and I am as a blonde woman with tits and ass, very proud of my accomplishments as a musician, and I say that with lots of strength. People call it arrogance, but I do believe that women in pop music have a very bad rap, and I think people have learned to expect very little from all of us, and it's very unfair. It's very prejudiced. So me and my tits and my ass and my brain are very proud to be here today.
Next Monday, March 28th, is your 25th birthday.
Yes.
So, happy birthday.
Thank you.
And you can tell
Can I just keep telling people I'm 24?